end up wanting to mold the children in a particular way without understanding what the children want. We end up messing their lives. I tell you something interesting that happens in India at least. I don't know how much that happens in the West. But in India, parents have a particular desire. Like say, for example, end up some wanting a mother. I'm speaking from inside. So some father or mother wants to do engineering, but they could not do. They end up winning the childhood, you know. Or if they want to wear clothes in a particular way, but they can't wear, they'll make the children wear. So what they're essentially doing, they're living through their childhood. What they couldn't do, they make the childhood. Like for example, Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra, he also always wanted to be the king. But unfortunately, he was blind. He couldn't be the king. So his whole focus was what I couldn't do, I'll make my son do. Unfortunately, you know what happens? It works in the beginning phase of life. After a certain point, the child understands what they want to do. And they do exactly what they want to do. 70 to 80% of engineers in India don't remain engineers in their life. They end up doing something else. After engineering, they do MBA. After, like, I did law after doing engineering, you know. You end up doing something what you want to do and you continue life, isn't it? So there's only a limited amount of force that you can put on a child to mold the child in the way you want. So what we can do is, first we understand the nature of children. That's the first step, you know. When you understand the nature of the child, what does it mean to understand the nature of the child? It means recognize the strengths and weaknesses of the child. Every child comes with a particular strength and with a particular weakness. And if as parents, we simply understand what the strength and weakness of the child is, we can work and we can help children become the best version of themselves. Many children don't know who they are. They don't know what their capacity is. They don't know what their talents are. It requires someone to first identify their talents. In the Ramayana, we find this very fascinating story where Hanuman met Lord Ram for the first time in his life. So in the Rishimka mountains in Kishkinda, Ram and Lakshmana are walking in the forest, and then Hanumanji comes. But Hanuman comes disguised as a beggar, sannyasi. So when Hanuman comes disguised, Sukhdev has told Hanuman that you should not go in your original form, go in a disguised form. So Hanuman goes in a disguised form, and the moment he comes in front of Ram and Lakshman see this beggar in the middle of a forest. So Ram asks Hanuman two questions. The first question he asks Hanuman is, if you are a beggar, what are you doing in the forest? Beggars don't beg in the forest, right? Have you ever seen beggars begging in the forest? They beg in cities or villages or towns, you know. So Ram asked Hanuman, what are you doing in the forest? And the second question Ram asked Hanuman is, if you are a beggar, what is a diamond necklace doing on your neck? So there was a beautiful diamond necklace that Hanuman was wearing. So when Hanuman was small, Lord Brahma had given him this necklace. And Brahma told Hanumanji that this necklace will be an invisible necklace. No one will be able to see this necklace. And the one person who spots this necklace, you should know, is your master. So all life long, Hanuman wore that necklace, but nobody saw it. Imagine wearing a necklace and nobody seeing. Why do you wear necklaces? So that somebody sees, right? Show others. And here is Hanuman wearing a beautiful necklace that no one can see. And here, at a certain point, Brahmaji tells Hanumanji that, you know, this necklace, only one person will be able to see. Even the parents of Hanumanji didn't see the necklace. Finally, when Ram saw this necklace, Hanuman was shocked. He asked Ram, can you actually see this? Ram said, yeah, I can see it. Then he asked Lakshman, can you see it? Lakshman said, no, I can't see anything. So Hanuman fell at the feet of Ram immediately and he surrendered himself. He said, you are my master. Now, let me just analyze the story from our life perspective. Okay. Children are like Hanuman. All of us, in one sense, are like Hanuman. We all have one diamond necklace that we're wearing, but it's a necklace that nobody can see. Some quality that we have, some talent that we have, some skill, some ability that we have. It's like a diamond necklace that nobody can see. But someday there will be a Ram walking into your life. And that person somehow spots the diamond necklace. And most of the time we don't even know that we are wearing a diamond necklace. We don't even know that we have a quality like that. And that person that walks into your life that does that role, that person is your real parent. That person is your guru. That person is your mentor. That person is the one who is actually, going to guide you in your life. Parents ideally should be doing this role for children, identifying their diamonds, identifying their skills and talents, identifying their abilities, and encouraging them for that. So for Hanuman, Ram was the one who identified the diamond. But when Hanuman saw Lord Ram, he surrendered to him, he was really thrilled. But Hanuman still, though now Ram identified his diamond, identified that Hanuman is high potential person, Ram didn't fan it. Ram just identified, kept it to his heart. He told Lakshman, in fact, this person is special. Ram didn't tell Hanuman this. Ram told Lakshman. And in fact, Ram told Lakshman, this person is so good that if anyone has this person as his minister or messenger, that king will surely win. So Ram was very impressed. He identified the strength of Hanumanji, he identified the ability of Hanumanji, but he didn't fan it. Much later in the Ramayana, we find when Hanumanji and all the Vanaras had gone to the southern ocean to find Mother Sita. In that search, when the Vanaras were searching for Mother Sita, they came to a point where they saw this massive ocean in front of them. There was an 800-mile ocean. And they were wondering how to cross this ocean. So all the Vanaras were giving their own capacity. Some were saying, I can do 10 miles. Somebody saying, I can do 20 miles. I can do 15 miles. Somebody was saying, 100 miles. Like that. Each one was giving their own capacity of how much they can do. And at that point, Hanuman had not spoken at all. Because when Hanuman was a small child, Hanuman was cursed by a sage. As a child, he was very naughty. And he was extremely powerful. All the gods had given him so many powers. And because of so much power that Hanumanji had, he became extremely naughty. And he became so naughty that he started troubling the sages like anything. And he would jump into the water and pull the legs of the sages. He would pull their beards, jump on their shoulders. He would take away their clothes. He was really, really naughty. And one particular sage was really upset with Hanumanji. And he cursed Hanumanji that you will forget all your strengths until someone reminds you of it. So Hanumanji completely forgot all his strengths. And even when he met Lord Ram, Ram knew that this person was powerful, but Ram didn't remind Hanuman of his powers. But later on, in this particular episode, when they were searching for Sita, they had to cross the ocean. Hanuman was not speaking up what his capacity is, because he himself didn't know what his capacity is. And that is when Jambavan, he sat with Hanuman and reminded Hanuman of his powers. And as Jambavan began to remind Hanuman of his powers, Hanuman became huge in size. And from that point onwards, if you read the entire Ramayana, the hero of the Ramayana is Hanuman. Every single chapter from Hanuman's heroism. But if Jambavan had not reminded Hanuman of his strengths and not fanned Hanuman's enthusiasm and strengths, Hanuman would not have done what he did, isn't it? So all of us need two kinds of help. All children Every single human being who is born in this world needs these two stages of help. The first stage of help is identification. That means someone should identify my potential. Someone should identify that I have some leadership abilities. I have some unique qualities. I have some skills, some talents, some abilities. Somebody should identify. But it's not enough to just identify. There has to be somebody who encourages and trains me. So all of us, if you look at your own lives, all of your individuals, if you look at your own lives, I'm sure if you close your eyes, you remember that one person who identified your abilities, right? I'm sure for someone it could be a father or a mother, for someone it could be a boss, for someone it could be a teacher in school, for someone it could be a neighbor, anyone, someone who identified that this person has good potential. And then there will be a second person who will train you, who will make you achieve your potential, who can help you achieve great success, who can help you mold your abilities into something tangible. There is a second person that we need in our life. So we all need a Ram who can identify our abilities, and we all need a Jambavan who can actually train us, who can actually encourage us, who can fan our enthusiasm, basically. And after these three, the third thing that you need is someone who can trust you with responsibility. Someone who can trust you with responsibility. See, imagine you know that you have potential. Imagine that somebody has trained you to achieve your full potential. But imagine if nobody gave you the opportunity. Nobody trusted you with responsibility. What will you do? Isn't it? You need a third person who trusts you with responsibility. In Hanumanji's case, you find Jambavan helping Hanuman, flare up his potential. And then you find when Hanuman met Mother Sita, there Sita gave him the Chudamani. And Sita told him, I trust you. You will get Ram here and rescue me in 1 month. She put the responsibility on Hanuman. And she gave a target 1 month. Hanuman is thinking, how will you do it in 1 month? Sita said, I don't know. You figure it out. And that is when Hanuman, what he achieved in those 30 days is unimaginable. Exactly on the 30th day, Sita was rescued. It's very interesting what Hanuman did in those 30 days. When the day Sita told Hanumanji that you have 30 days, from that day I'll just give you a countdown of what happened in the Ramayana. So when Sita told him from that day for Hanuman to reach back to Lord Ram in Kishkinda, it took him 3 days. 1 day he took to burn Lanka and all that, and then he came back. And 2 days he took all the Vanaras and went back to Kishkinda. So 3 days got over. And then after he told Ram that Sita was given a deadline of 30 days, so the whole Vanara army came down. It took them 12 days to come down. So 3 plus 12, 15 days. And then they had to sit there. Ram performed tapasya on the ocean shore for 3 days. So it became 18 days. And then the building of the bridge happened. It took 5 days for them to build a bridge which was 800 miles long and 80 miles wide bridge. 5 days. So 23 days. And then 7 days the war lasted. On the 7th day, which was the 30th day of Sita's warning, they killed Ravan. And on the 30th day, Hanuman went back to Sita and said, my dear mother, you are free now. Ravan is killed. So imagine, those 30 days actually made Hanuman the hero that we all worship, And who trusted him with that? Sita. Sita trusted him with the responsibility. So one person recognized the potential, another person fanned the potential and encouraged the potential, and the third person entrusted him with responsibility. And then you see a hero being born. So all of us as parents, the one thing that you know is these 3 things somebody has to play in your child's life. Whether it is you or some teacher or somebody else. But somebody, for any child to achieve greatness, these are three things that are needed. Somebody who finds potential, somebody who encourages the potential, and somebody who trusts you with responsibility. I remember in my childhood, my father played a very, very important role for my personal development. At an age where probably most parents would not really trust their children to do things, my father gave me things that were very strange at my age. Most of my friends, none of them have ever done it. He gave me money to go and buy stuff when I was very, very small. I was so tiny, I would go to a shop and buy stuff. The shopkeepers would be surprised seeing such a small child come with money. At a very small age, I was sent to banks to go and do transactions and deposit money and all that. So somewhere I find very strongly that my father and mother's role was very powerful in my personal development. Not only did they trust the responsibilities, they put some very interesting barriers, or rather, very interesting barricades. When a flower, when a flower is being grown in a garden, um, there are three stages of nurturing. The first stage of nurturing is known as a nursery stage. Nursery stage is where there are saplings. If you go to nurseries, they're very tiny saplings. And these tiny saplings need a lot of protection. So in the beginning stage of our life, we need a lot of protection from a parent. So that is a stage where our mind can actually get a lot confused, a lot bewildered and contaminated. So that's the time the sapling has to be very, very nicely protected. And the second stage is a garden stage. So if you see the difference between a nursery and a garden, the plants have grown up in a garden, isn't it? Nursery plants are very tiny and very, very small. But in a garden, the plants are much bigger. And then from the garden, the next stage is forest stage. In a forest, so in nursery, you need plant, water, you need nutrients, you need a lot of ingredients to be put for the plants to be protected. Garden, it doesn't need so much. Garden is much more stronger. But forest, have you ever seen anybody going and watering plants in the forest? You don't need it. It is a self-sufficient thing, basically. So the initial stage, parents have to protect children like the way nursery plants are taken care. But when children grow under a protected environment, they become very, very self-sufficient like gardens. They need timely encouragement, they need timely positivity, but they are very much self-sufficient. And when they grow up with forests, then they don't need anything. They will give shelter to hundreds of people, basically. So, in the beginning stage of the way we take care of children, the first 5 years are the most powerful formative years of any child's life. The first 5 years, they have to be given lots of love and care. Srila Prabhupada would often say, the children in the first 5 years have to be treated like kings or queens, pampered, given a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, a lot of, love. Because in those 5 years is where they start identifying themselves. They start developing their self-worth. And in those 5 years, if they're given a lot of love and affection, their self-worth magnifies a lot. They actually start feeling safe. They actually start feeling happy. They actually start feeling joyous. Then from 5 to 10 is a time of discipline. This is a time when solid rules have to be put in place. Solid discipline has to be put in place. Solid frameworks of what works and what doesn't work have to be put in place. A lot of parents, this age, this phase, they mess up by pampering them a lot. This is not the age to pamper. This is the age to discipline. Because this is the age when children are experimenting. They're trying to understand what is socially acceptable and what is not socially acceptable. In this age, if you don't help the child understand what is socially acceptable or not, you are going to create children who are going to be social misfits, literally. They will do bad things, Because they're just trying to test what is working, what is not working. And they'll try to test your patience in this age. This is the age they will try ask all kinds of crazy questions. You tell them to do something, they'll do exactly opposite. Because they're just trying to test and figure out what works and what is accepted, what is not accepted. And this is the age that you have to set limits. You have to make things very clear what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. And this is the age that you need to draw boundaries. And this is the age where you have to be really strict with children. Strict, not in a hurting way, strict, not in a derogatory way, but strict in a sense of discipline. For a kite to fly high, the kite has to be tied with a thread to the ground. Now, a lot of people think that the thread is binding the kite to the ground. But actually, that thread only is helping the kite fly higher. If you cut the thread thinking it will go higher, it will actually come down, isn't it? So the thread apparently seems to be holding the child down, but the thread is actually setting them free. There are two words. There is a pain of discipline, and then there's a pain of regret. Either children have to go through a pain of discipline, or eventually they go through what is known as a pain of regret. What is the difference between pain of discipline and pain of regret? Pain, both are painful. But one pain of discipline comes first, and pain of regret comes later. So there are a lot of people who say, I don't want to go through pain of discipline. Then they have to go through pain of regret. Like for example, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was Srila Prabhupada's guru, he had one person who wanted to take initiation from him. This man, he came to Bhaktisiddhanta and he said, can you please give me initiation? Bhaktisiddhanta said, yes. You go and shave your beard and come back. This man had a long beard, Bhaktisiddhanta simply told him, go and shave your beard and come back. I'll give you initiation. This guy got offended. He loved his beard very dearly. He said, no, I can't shave my beard. Bhaktisiddhanta said, if you're attached to your beard, how will you be attached to Krishna? Bhaktisiddhanta just, simply just walked away. He said, I'm not interested. He walked away. And he went on his cycle, he was going home. While he was going home on his cycle, somehow he tripped and fell. And his beard got stuck in the cycle chain. And eventually they had to shave it, And after shaving, he went to Bhaktisiddhanta, saying, I'm ready now. So now if you see, Bhaktisiddhanta was talking about the pain of discipline. And then this guy, he came up with this he experienced the second thing, which is pain of regret, isn't it? Pain of discipline is voluntary. Pain of regret is thrust upon you. So initially, when you discipline your children, it's a pain. Children will say, I don't want this. But you have to do it. It's a pain. Now today, if you tell a child, no mobile phone, that's it. The children almost feel that they are, sent back to, Stone Age or something like that. They feel so much pain. That's the pain of discipline. And when you see them howling, you see them screaming, you see them shouting, understand it's painful. Discipline is never easy. Forget children, even for adults. Where is discipline easy? You tell people about the 4 regulative principles. Impossible for most people to follow. Painful. You tell someone, chant 16 rounds. I have not found a single person till now who says, I enjoy chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I have not found a single person in my 25 years. It's painful. But that pain is needed because that's a pain of discipline. Only a pain of discipline helps you grow. Now, if somebody says, I don't want the pain of discipline, then there's a pain of regret. So that means the child enjoys like anything, whatever he or she wants for many, many years. Then at a later point, when they don't get good jobs, when they're not able to get good opportunities, when they're not able to perform well, they're not able to focus, they're not able to concentrate, they're not able to use their brains and do well in society, then they regret. Why did I not do this? Right? So either you thrust your children into pain of discipline or you thrust your children into pain of regret. Most parents who thrust their children into pain of regret When not disciplining the child, it's not that the intention is bad. The intention is good. But it's just that they don't know sometimes what good intention can lead to. With the best of intention, you can spoil a child's life. With the best of intentions, you can completely mess up a child's life. So intention will never be a problem. But how you execute, how you actually discipline, how you actually mold the child, that is where the problem is. The Vedic scriptures, they have phenomenal direction and phenomenal insights to give us in how you raise children. The other day I was talking about how many times parents, they themselves are not ready to put in an effort in trying to evolve children. Typically you ask parents to come for classes, for value education classes for children. The moment you announce children classes, hundreds of parents are ready to check the children. Why? Every parent wants their child to have values. Now my question is, how many parents want to have values? Call them, why don't you also come? We have values for parents also. So no, let my children study. No problem. I don't have time. So now imagine the children are studying some values, but when they go home, they see a different set of values being practiced. How will the child relate? In a class, the child is told you can't speak lies. And the child goes home. In front of the child, mother and father or somebody is speaking lies. So child gets completely confused because there are two different set of values. They're learning one set of values in a temple, and they said learn another set of values at home. So when children come to classes here, they learn about faith. They learn about why to have faith in God. They learn about stories of Krishna. They learn so much inspiration stuff. And they go home, they find that the parents are just not interested in spirituality. They're not interested in Krishna consciousness. They're not interested in God at all. The child gets very confused. And therefore, there has to be an alignment in what they learn at home and what they learn in the temple. And that alignment leads a child to become very focused on what he or she wants to do in life. I remember in my entire childhood, my father, he had some very strict practices. No matter what, there were some things that he always did on a daily basis. Every single day he went to a temple. Some temple in the vicinity. Every single day. I have not seen him not go to a temple till date. I can tell you, even today, he is almost 67 now. Every single day he would go to a temple and give some donation. Now, you might say that, how is that influencing my life as a child? It does, isn't it? Imagine, no matter how busy a person is, he finds time to go to temple. That's a statement, isn't it? He would not force us to do it, but he would do it no matter what. And second, whenever somebody is in need, I always, every single day, feeding somebody. Some beggar, somebody on the street. Every single day I saw him feeding cows. Every single day I saw him reading Sundarkand of Ramayana, chanting some holy names of the Lord. Every single day of my life. So what happens when a child sees some discipline in a father or a mother? That it kind of goes very subtly into the brain of the child. And father had very strict timings of when to come home. No matter what, 9 p.m. cut off. So wherever you are in the world, 9 p.m. you have to be home. So these certain rules, it seemed very painful when I was small. But for me today, I actually thank my father because those rules are what is making me today the way I am. I'm able to get up in the morning because my father set those rules. And the reason we're able to get up in the morning is simply because we sleep early in the night. You know? And we sleep early in the night because this rule was there. You have to come back at this time. You know? What to do after that? So the way the home environment is molded, it really makes a big difference in the quality of the child that you develop. And more importantly, the most important thing that I would like to really tell all of you from a parenting point of view is, for a child, the most valuable commodity for a child is not an iPad, it's not toys, it's not cakes and pizzas and pastas. That's not what the most valuable commodity for a child is. The most valuable commodity for a child is your time. And it's not just sitting there, it's quality time. Quality time means what? Quality time means when you're not on your phone. Quality time means when you're not doing something else. Quality time means when you are focused on the needs, interests, and concerns of the child. And a lot of parents have no idea what to do with their child. They have no idea what to do with their child. They're just completely lost. And therefore, what I suggest that parents should do on a daily basis is spend time with children telling them stories. Spend time with children telling them stories that build values. If you tell a child a story that builds a value, you're doing two things simultaneously. One is you're telling them stories. But second, you are instilling that particular value in the child's psyche, in the child's mind. And those values stay for a long period in the child's mind. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that are simple stories, but they have profound effect when told to children. Right? So the reason I'm telling you these stories is to just help you understand the kind of stories that you could share with your children. And these kind of stories are available in plenty in our scriptures and in our Vedic traditions. And these stories, when they are told, narrated in a very exciting, nice, fun way, they stay in the mind of a child for a long, long time. I remember every single day of my holidays, my grandmother would be telling me stories. At least all from first standard to 10th standard, every summer holiday we would go to our village, and every night we would sleep with my grandmother. All my cousins, my brother, my cousins, all of us would sleep together. And my grandmother would sleep in between, and she would tell all those stories. And we would, hear those stories and slowly go to sleep. I don't even know how many times I've heard Ramayana from my grandmother. I don't know how many times I've heard all these stories from my grandmother. I can't tell you how powerful these stories are when they're told from the heart. So I'm going to share with you all 2-3 stories, and then you can explore hundreds of other stories that I've written in my books, and you can share with children. And this, I would say, is one of the most powerful ways to spend quality time with children. Rather than giving them iPads and allowing them to watch some cartoons, some random person is instilling values in their mind. You should create values that you want to instill in their minds. You should be the one deciding which values you want to instill in your mind. And therefore, storytelling is one of the most powerful ways you can instill values. So here are some stories that can be useful to you all to tell your children. It could be also useful to you all to understand how to tell your children these stories. Okay? Here is a story from the Mahabharata, a very interesting story. When Kunti met Lord Krishna just before the Mahabharata war, Krishna had come as a peace messenger to Hastinapur. And at that time, before leaving back to Virat kingdom, where the Pandavas were, Krishna met Kunti. And Kunti told Krishna, "You're going to meet my sons, the Pandavas. When you go to meet them, tell them the story that I'm telling you." Saying like this, Kunti told Krishna a story. And here's the story that Kunti told Krishna. She told Krishna the story of a boy named Sanjay. There was a young prince named Sanjay. His father died very suddenly. And when his father died, This little boy, he was a 16-year-old boy, he was forced to become the king, next king. So he was not prepared for it, he was not ready for it, he was not trained for it, but forcibly was made a king. So when Sanjay became the king, the neighboring kingdoms they got to know that a new king is installed, and this new king is weak. The neighboring kingdom attacked. And here was Sanjay thrown into a war situation right in the beginning of his kingly life. And Sanjay was forced to get into a war. And it was a massive war. And Sanjay's army was losing badly. And Sanjay almost lost his life. Sanjay ran back. He ran back to his fort. And he somehow escaped alive, And he ran back to his fort thinking that I'll go into my fort, I'll be safe inside the walls of my fort. My army will see whatever happens. When he reached the fort wall, the doors, the gates were closed. Sanjay is knocking the fort. Nobody is opening the fort from inside. He's shouting, "And Sanjay, the king, open the fort." His mother, her name is Vidula, she comes on top of the fort. From top of the fort, she tells Sanjay, he says, the fort door will not open. And she tells him, there's only two ways the fort door will open. If you either come back dead or you come back victorious. If you come back without these two, the door will not open. Now Sanjay, he had no option. Either he couldn't stay there because the door is not opening. His mother is not opening the door. Imagine. This fellow realized it's a do or die. So he went back, fought like mad, and he won. And then he came back, mother opened the door. So Kunti is telling this story to Krishna, and Krishna is telling Krishna, go and tell my sons this story. And tell my sons, if they're going to come back, let them come back victorious. Otherwise, don't come only. Now, what do you understand from this story? From the story, you understand what kind of a mother one should have, what kind of a mother one should be. So here is a mother who is instilling courage in her son, who is instilling the idea of not giving up in her son, who is instilling the idea of not letting go easily. Today, so many kids, they give up so easily. They do something, it doesn't work, just leave it. They try something, doesn't work, they just leave it. They pick up a harmonium or pick up a instrument, they're not able to learn quickly, they just leave it. So giving up is so easy. And that's why people end up giving up on relationships also, isn't it? Get married, doesn't work, leave it. So if you keep leaving it like this at every point and don't fight, where will you ever win? Where will you ever become successful in your life? And therefore, we need mothers like Vidula. We need mothers like Kunti who can instill that kind of courage in the children. Now imagine telling this story to your child. What are you instilling in your child? You're instilling the same thought, isn't it? And that's how stories go deep into the child's psyche. These stories go so deep and they penetrate so deeply in the children's mind that they stay in the mind forever. Even one story that really inspires and captivates the mind is enough to transform a child's life forever. I'm going to tell you another story. This is a very interesting story, and the lesson that you can learn from this story is even more interesting. There was once a king who was on a procession. He was traveling around his kingdom. So while he was on a procession, he was on a chariot, and they were on one street. It was like a straight, long street. The king asked his minister. He said, all the houses in the street are in straight line. Why is this one house jutting out? In that entire street, there was only one house that was jutting into the street. The minister was surprised that the king asked that question. Because the king has been on this path many times in the past. But this is the first time he asked about that house that was jutting out. So the minister realized there must be something fishy, because of which the king has had this thought. So the king told the minister, make sure you cut this house and get it aligned with all the other houses. So the minister, he said, okay. And the next day he went to this person's house. And this person whose house was jetting out, he was a merchant. He was a businessman. Very successful businessman. The minister went and asked this merchant a question. He said, did you think bad about the king in the last few weeks? Did you think anything bad about the king? The merchant said, no, why will I ever think bad about the king? I love him. The minister said, see, I will not tell what you thought to anybody, but please tell me in confidence, did you think anything bad about the king? Then the merchant, he spoke up. He said, see, I'll explain to you my situation. He said, many months back, many years back rather, I had bought a huge quantity of sandalwood. And I thought I'll sell it and make good money out of it. But from the time I got the sandalwood, I found no way to sell it, no occasion to sell it. So I was just thinking, if someone in the royal family dies, I can sell all the sandalwood. They'll use it for the cremation, right? Sandalwood. He said, I just had this thought. The merchant said, first sell me all the sandalwood. He bought all the whole stock of sandalwood. And he told the merchant, stop thinking like this. Merchant said, sorry. Then the minister took the sandalwood and went back. The next day, the king was again on the tour of his kingdom. And he came to the same street. The king asked the minister, did you already pass orders to cut that house? The minister said, no, I have not yet taken action. The king said, let it be. He's a good man. He's a good citizen. Why should we trouble him? Let it be. Now, look at this story. What do you understand from this story? Our thoughts influence others. So sometimes it happens that we're thinking bad about somebody and that person actually does something bad to us. Or, somebody is thinking bad about us and we end up doing bad to that person. Thoughts have a solid influence on our actions. When we think negative, when we think bad about somebody, don't think that that person doesn't know or doesn't come to know. There's a science of vibrations. And these vibrations, these thoughts are something that immediately people can sense. When you're thinking bad about someone, immediately others can sense it. When others are thinking bad about you, immediately you can sense it. And therefore, when you're very careful of how you deal, how you behave, how you act, how you think towards other people, others also become sensitive towards you. When you become insensitive, when you start thinking bad about other people also start behaving bad towards you. So therefore, this one single story, it can actually influence a child's mind so much, isn't it? The child will start being very careful of thoughts that he has, especially bad thoughts towards others. Because that child knows that when I think bad somebody else, that person will actually do something bad to me. So that way, it creates a very interesting way the child thinks, develops his mindset. So my suggestion, my request to all of you all is that please explore these stories. I've written so many books. I'll be quickly introducing all my books to you all now. But my suggestion to all of you all is that please spend time upgrading yourself and then spend time giving your children these stories, because this is the treasure of India. India is in the olden times, 400, 500 years before, when all the travelers started looking for this golden place called India. What were they looking for? They were not looking for spices. They were not looking for gold. So a lot of people think that these people went searching for spices and gold. That is, they found that there. But what they actually went for, because they knew that this is a place of knowledge. India is a place of knowledge. The Vedic culture is a phenomenal storehouse of knowledge. Some of the most amazing things in the world originate there. And because the Vedic culture is so powerful and such a powerful storehouse of knowledge, it is important that all of us get access to that knowledge and use that knowledge in the most powerful way in our lives. And this knowledge has the power to shape our future, shape our future of our children, shape the future of an entire generation. Unfortunately, over the last 50 years, I would say, this knowledge has not been emphasized. It's kind of getting lost to a great extent. In the past, there would be constant Ram Katha, Krishna Katha, Bhagavad Katha going on across India, constantly going on. Every single evening there will be kathas going on. But today, where do you find kathas? Where do people have time from? Prime, Amazon Prime, and Netflix, and all these OTT channels. Where do people have time from movies and sports and entertainment? So therefore, it is important that all of us put an effort in reviving the Katha culture, at least at home. So if every single day, in every single home, there is some Katha going on, there is some kind of discussion going on, some kind of thoughts being sown in the minds of children, some kind of discussions going on within families, it can create a revolution for the future. It can revolutionize the way we look at our own lives, the way we look at the Vedic culture, the way we look at Sanatana Dharma, and the way we all as individuals can impact society and impact the world. I mean, how many kathas can I do in my life? I probably will do a few thousand in my life. But that's not going to be enough. We need millions of kathas going on. And the only way millions of kathas can go on is every parent becomes a kathakar. Every grandparent becomes a kathakar, So at every home, there should be a kathakar, somebody telling stories. And the future of the world is stories. The past has always been stories. If you see, all our scriptures are all stories, isn't it? You will not find a single Vedic scripture which is not story-based. Every single scripture is story-based. And stories are powerful. Stories are transformative. Stories have the power to impact your lives like nothing else. So I'm going to introduce you all to my books. Madhukar, if you just get me a set of all my books. Just one copy of all my books. So I'm going to introduce you all to a couple of my books. And these are very, very simply written, very easy to understand format, but very powerful. I wrote a 6-volume set on the Ramayana called Ramayana, the Game of Life. So this series is my biggest work, where I have written the entire Ramayana in 6 volumes. It is written in a very simple way, in a very easy to understand way, but in a way that is very gripping as a narrative. So this is a Ramayana series. It's called Ramayana, the Game of Life. So this is in 6 volumes. Here we have 5 volumes, but there's another volume that will come eventually. Yes. I hope the online people are also able to see. So this is the most powerful narration on the Ramayana that you can find. So this series is a combination of the storyline from Valmiki Ramayana, but it also has analogies and poetic expressions from Tujidasa's Ramayana, Ramacharita and then Kamba Ramayana, which is Tamil Ramayana. In addition to that, there are folk tales that are in alignment with the Valmiki Ramayana. In addition to that, there are commentaries of Acharyas and life lessons that you can learn from your life. So practically in every volume of this book, there are at least 200 to 300 life lessons you can learn through the story of the Ramayana. So this is the first set. Here is the illustrated version of Ramayana for kids. So the children are interested in reading the entire Ramayana by themselves. This one book has everything. So this book is called Chronicles of Hanuman. This is about 100 stories of Hanuman's life, written in a very beautiful and a very exciting and a fun way. This book is one of my best books. It's called Open-Eyed Meditations. This book is a book that every devotee must have for sure. This book is almost like a guidebook for you. So every chapter of this book speaks about one aspect of life seen through lens of Ramayana Mahabharata. So if anybody has any kind of problems that they're struggling with, whether it is in relationship, whether it's leadership, whether it is dealing with success and failures, you will find an answer for this in this book. This is one of my latest books. This is called Plug into Happiness. This is a book that talks about workspace happiness. How while working in the corporate space, you can try to have a balanced and a happy life. This book is a book on Hanuman Chalisa. I'm sure all of you all have been reading and chanting Hanuman Chalisa all your life. But how many of you all really know the meaning of the Hanuman Chalisa? Every word of the Hanuman Chalisa is explained through a story in this book. So this book is #1 bestseller book on Amazon at this point in India. And this is a book that is very, very fascinating for anyone who is a Hanuman devotee. This book is called Magic of Friendship. This is a book that I wrote for teenagers, how to develop friendship and how to retain friends. And then these two books are story books. One is called Timeless Tales to Ignite the Mind, and one is called Ancient Wisdom to Elevate the Mind. Each book has 50 stories from India. One is from the folklore of India, and one is from Indian epics that explains, these stories explain in the exact same format that I narrated, a story and a beautiful lesson based on it.
Prabhuji, what are the names of these books?
Tagline says 5.5 ways to lasting relationships. Anyone who is married or is about to get married should read this book. This book has 6 love stories from our scriptures, and each story talks about how to make relationships work and relationships last. That's what these books are. In addition, there are some small books for kids. These are all illustrated books. You can check them all out. I would highly recommend all of you, including those who are online watching this, to have at least one set of all these books in your house. These books are going to stay in your house forever, and these books will be read by generations. And these are the quality of books that children must read. For any child that is developing, these are great resources. These are great alternatives to Western authors and Western stories that already exist in the market. These are very Indian and these are very traditional stories, but written in a way which is very fascinating, very gripping, very exciting, and very fun to read, basically. So,
the Zoom people, they are asking for you to say the description of the book.
I already.
You already did.
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah, no, name of the book, Prabhuji. The name.
All of you are able to see.
Name.
Okay. So for all the Zoom guys, let me just explain to you all that very soon we'll be dropping a PDF that contains all my books description. So I'll share it with Ramayana and he will share it with all of you all. So you'll get details of all my books. Okay. Thank you. So if anybody has any questions or comments, please be happy to answer some of them. Thank you.
Spatial way of like what's the I as a parent keep exploring them and identify the lifelong.
So one is by observation. So the child's face speaks a lot. So there are some activities that give children a lot of joy. You can see it on their face. So some children, when they do a particular activity, they just feel so good. They feel like doing it more and more. That's one of your identifications, basically. Second is you should observe how they actually do. How there are certain activities, like say for example, there are I don't know how many people here heard of these 7 kinds of intelligences. Linguistic intelligence and physical intelligence and logical intelligence. Like that, there are 7 kinds of intelligences. Different children have a different natural inclination. If parents can just keep an eye on their natural inclinations, it's much easier to help you identify. Like for example, I'll give you an example. Till date, when I try to put my shoelaces, I struggle. Till date. Now, I did an engineering job. engineering. I did my engineering and then I was doing an engineering job. I remember one day when it was like a turning point in my life, that particular day. So I was working in an organization, in a company that was into electronic equipments, and I was in charge for the organization, the entire of Goa. So wherever the installations, wherever marketing, anything connected with those equipments, I only had to go and do. I knew everything about it. 3-4 months, I learned everything I need to. One day, I was called in one company for one faulty instrument. Something didn't work. So I went there to repair it. I knew what the problem was. Instantly, I identified the problem. I knew what the solution was also. I just needed to solder one wire. That's all. It was a 2-minute job. But my problem was my hand was shivering. It was not like stable to solder that wire. Basically. I knew exactly what to do, but somehow, my hands were like not exactly, I don't know. That's the way my physical intelligence works. 3 hours I struggled over there, I knew what the solution, but somehow it just didn't work. That day I realized this is not what I should be doing in my life. If I continued doing this, I would have been frustrated all my life, isn't it? And thinking that I'm useless. Because my ability is somewhere else. In my research, is in thinking, is in analysis, basically. And I was doing something different. That day, I decided to explore other avenues. And that's how I came across patent law, which is a techno-legal field. And I actually started studying law. Completely a shift. So imagine if somebody had to help me right from the beginning to understand the direction in which my thinking should go. I would not have had to go through so many trajectories, isn't it? So these are simple things that can be understood by observation. Somebody has to observe. In a time when nobody has time only to observe, most children have to figure it out themselves. And by the time they figure out, they're already in their 30s, literally, isn't it? And many children don't even figure it out till the end of their lives. So that's what I mean. Observation, and somebody you can talk to them about what observations are. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions or comments? I hope whatever I said made sense to all of you. Yes. I have
False,
force.
especially when immigrants, very cultured sitting on the bench. Whatever you say, I also speak, and I would advise my friends for younger ones how it's very important to look at the way that we have and but due to the circumstances, the environment, and a child in school, go to school from English to English, the end or even the influences. If you look at the customer, the child is exposed to the non-Asian. That's where the line between discipline and force, there's a confusion.
So, see, I mean, okay.
All these words you say,
Yeah.
never be dealt with.
Yeah. So the point is, we should know what discipline means. See, there is some level of discipline which is wrongly implemented also, and that has led to a lot of backlash, right? So when children are hurt, and children are too disciplined, when children are abused in any way, that's what I think people are trying to be very, very careful of, right? I don't think that any parent in the world or any organization, any school in the world is opposed to the idea of discipline. But how the discipline is implemented is what is debatable, basically. Am I right? What I'm saying? So now, obviously, in a Western culture, there is a lot of more sensitivity towards how discipline is done. Reason is because there are many people in the past. There is a history to it. See, everything that happens today, there is a history to why it is happening. There is a history of how many people have actually misused the idea of discipline. So when I'm talking about disciplining, I'm talking about disciplining not from the point of view of physically hitting children, but from the point of view of setting rules and boundaries within a home. And I think those rules and boundaries are very, very important in not just homes, in schools, in colleges, in every place where you need to have a social decorum, isn't it? So now imagine, 1 second, I'll just come back to you, okay? Imagine you have traffic, there's no discipline on traffic lights. What happens? It'll be chaos, isn't it? You'll be a total chaos. So therefore, I feel when I'm talking about discipline, I'm talking about discipline that is done with love, and discipline that is done with sensitivity. Okay? And if you at home are giving love and affection, and at the same time disciplining, I think any sane child will understand that the same mother is acting in a disciplining way and at the same time is showering so much love. The child will understand that this discipline is also another form of love. It's called tough love. And tough love is important. Okay. Yes, you have a question? Yes. You're saying that the parents still needs to show love? Yes, 100%. That's exactly what I was talking about to this aunt, Yoma was telling you about how sometimes love has to be shown in a little tough way. It's called tough love. So the point is, love is never missing. Love should never be missing between parents and children. There should be lots of love. But the love can be expressed in many ways, isn't it? So when parents are a little strict with you, it doesn't mean they don't love you. In fact, they love you more. Why? Because they're concerned about you, right? So if they're concerned about you, they will naturally want the best for you. And sometimes when you behave very naughty, they might act strict. And why are they acting strict? So that you understand, you do nice things, correct? So that when they act strict, that's also another form of it. Okay? So you should love your parents whether they act strict or whether they act pretty pamper you. Both are different forms of love. Okay? Thank you. Yeah. Do you have a question?
Since you so I guess I'm asking you out of your when we talk about Ramayana, people talk about but during this conference in India, Ramayana, 8 times. I think there was a one important people when Bharat came to as background. I think somewhere along the line I came to there is an unknown.
Yeah, of course.
But nobody happened. Since we have come to a just what people say, brother is fighting with the brother for coffee. I think Bharat is there can cover like for his business to be adhere to that.
100%. 100%. I write about Bharat, the whole second book of Ramayana is like literally about Bharat only. Absolutely. Right. Thank you. So there are 2 questions here online that I can see. Balaji is asking, do we still have people who have child's progress at heart other than parents? I can tell you that there are many teachers who are really interested in the progress of children. I know so many teachers who are in their heart having child's progress intensely. And anyone who's really interested in children, interested in teaching, will have children's progress in their hearts. Okay. There's another question by Focus. I don't know if that's a name, whatever. When parents try to input discipline or ask them to follow discipline, they don't like it. And they feel we are restricting them. And kids get upset. So how do we handle such situation with not hurting the relationship in the means of making them follow some of the disciplines? So that's what we're talking about. The idea of discipline has to be embedded within a lot of love. It's like a sandwich, you know. You have bread on top, you have bread below, and in between you have jam, you know. So now the jam is a very small part of the sandwich, but it's a very important part of the sandwich. So there has to be a lot of love, layers of love, given on both sides, and a little bit of discipline in between, basically. So that's what allows the children to accept that disciplining without feeling hurt, without feeling, that they are not being loved, basically. I hope that helps. And finally, one last question here. How do you install a sense of responsibility in children around the age of 10 years? I was telling about some things that I experienced in my life. See, children, when you trust them, they live up to your trust. When you don't trust them, they live up to that also. It depends on how you deal with them. So you have to see the maturity of your child, you have to see the ability of your child, and give them small responsibilities. First, small responsibilities within home, and when they carry out those small responsibilities within home, then you can give them small responsibilities outside the home also. But you begin by giving them small responsibilities, a little sense of taking ownership of some things, like for example, a cleanliness drive. You can make a child in charge for a cleanliness drive in a particular room in the house, or some help in cooking, some help in cleaning, something small they can begin with as a responsibility, and then you can give them more responsibilities as they grow. I hope that helps. Okay, thank you very much. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly what I've been telling. The whole lecture is towards this point only. That if we don't study our scriptures, if we don't know our religion, we're going to get our next generation is going to be in big trouble. My recommendation to you is I'll give you a solution immediately. There's a course called Journey of Self-Discovery. It's a 6-session course, which is the essence of the whole Bhagavad Gita. I highly recommend you to get this course. I can pass it on to Radhamohan and he can share it with you. But you can get it on YouTube also. Just search for my name, Shubha Vilas, and search for this course, Journey of Self-Discovery. You'll find it on YouTube. This is a must-hear course for everyone who's connected to Sanatana Dharma, who feels that he is a Hindu. Every single person must hear this course. This course will equip you to answer all the questions that your child is asking. And it will equip your child to answer all the questions that those guys are asking. It's a power-packed 6-session course. 12 hours of hearing. When you hear for those 12 hours, you will not have any more questions to ask. And if you still have questions, I'm there to answer. You're most welcome to connect with me. We'll be sharing a link and now Ramayana is going to display a part of. You can join my community where I do weekly Bhagavad Gita classes also. So if any of your children want to attend, they're most welcome. Ramayana conducts classes here. So we'll do classes for children also. So I would highly recommend anybody who is inquisitive to come and ask questions to us. So we have answers to all the questions. We have done enough research. We have done enough study. We can present it in a logical way, present it in an intellectual way, rather than just letting go. It is better to hold on to our culture, help the children hold on to our culture. It's our duty. What is that?
They're getting confused.
See, how will giving right information confuse them? Won't it give clarity to them? See, he being confused is good. If he's confused, at least he is open to discussion. If he's convinced, then we are in problem. If he's confused, this is the right time to help him. If he says that I am convinced about what I want to do, that's when you're in problem. Right now is the time you can help him. If you don't take a step now, you'll lose him in some time. Right? So confusion means he's still open to discussions. Basically. Yes.
Being a teacher, so don't you think that the same way other community are quite big, because Microsoft or
Why we are not doing what?
why we are not doing the other people? Why we are not more segmented and other stuff, or why we are not going from one point to the other?
See, so
I'm just adding the point. If you have seen movie like I made it fun. Especially because I've been from more fertile land. So I've been more on that how as a minority in class and in the end. So my father has studied in the end. So if you talk about my background, I'm basically from Kerala. So I have seen what done for about 90% of people talk of, but my family talk. So I do not work kind of thing. So this is a point where I think where these people are coming for Salmon. So these people have a lot more time. But if you think there are a lot of videos we can talk about, there is very few we talk about already. So it's not heavy, there's no people who talk about something like that. Okay, so that I have to communicate with my son or daughter what is basically. Because in Sanskrit, links means sign. It's not related to the father, male or the father. So there is a lot of things which is talking about my religion. It's only that I'm coming out so much, so much leaders not me. So that only I can stop and work it on it. But I think that there is often more responsibility people like you who are going for service. You people have to make an impact with that. That impact has to be powerful. Because making a movie, they don't want.
I think we're trying. That's the reason I'm traveling. That's the reason I'm giving lectures on a daily basis. So I think all of us have to try. It's not only that, in Hindu, the whole idea of Sanatana Dharma is it's not a religion like many other religions in the world. It is a lifestyle. So a lifestyle cannot be forced into somebody. A religion can be forced into somebody, right? A lifestyle is a choice. So Sanatana Dharma, there is no question of a religion. See, if you ask anybody what religion you are, we will say we are Hindus. So the word Hindu itself is a misnomer. There is no word Hindu in the whole Sanatana Dharma. You will not find a single verse in Sanskrit that says use the word Hindu. Because the word Hindu was coined by Muslims. When they attacked India, all the people that were on the other side of the Sindhu river, they called Sindhus. And they couldn't pronounce the word sir. They pronounced it as her. That's how those who on that side of Hindu river, Sindhu river, became Hindus for them. And that side of the Hindu river became Hindustan. So now that's not a religion, isn't it? The Vedic culture was called Sanatana Dharma. The Sanatana Dharma is not a religion. It is what is Sanatana? Sanatana means eternal. Dharma means constitutional nature. So Sanatana Dharma means this is the constitutional nature of the soul. And what is the constitutional nature of the soul? Jiva the soul koi, Krishna and Nityadas. They're all eternal servants of God. That's the constitutional nature of the soul. So what is Hinduism? Hinduism nothing but Sanatana Dharma, which teaches you how to connect back to the Supreme Lord. That's all. So that is why you will not find any process of conversion to Hinduism as such. Because that the concept of conversion doesn't exist only in Hinduism. Because it's not a religion-based thing. But yes, from the point of view of preaching, yes, we should be enthusiastic. We should be as powerful as possible.
My family is like we are 1,000 per head.
Correct. Correct.
But you don't know why. There is no price. It is 33, 40 years.
Correct.
So that if I'm that of because I feel now, being on the same thing, I think my sister is there. There is so much misconception about it. Since we are not vendors with Sanskrit, so that will be a like how to protect it. So when I have watched a video regarding Bengali, now if somebody comes in I can contact that. And I can contact with the right kind of communication, the right kind of. And there are movies which have not been made. So even if it is it is highly rated. But if you take the reincarnation next year, I think it should be the correct. Not only then when you were
Yeah, 100%. Whatever you're saying is perfectly right.
it is just like that misinformation. People are using out of the life. Because they will.
That's our own.
Yeah, that is I think something which I did my father. Believe it, and we have suffered from that. We have lost our land, Pakistan, we didn't buy that. We lost it. We lost to all people. But if you are not fighting now, you will not one day. One day you will not.
It's all our responsibility. All our responsibility.
That's the same way, it's not right. You know, we'll die. It's die.
Thank you. Please spend time studying our scriptures, understanding our scriptures, and sharing our knowledge with others. That's what we are trying to do. That's why I'm writing books like this.
We should also see that we don't take other religions. But I think that's been equal diversity, because we should also tell our children to ask them, like, why did God create? Why did God create everything? Very easy, no need to convert. That God is powerful. They could have created everybody else, or everybody else. Absolutely no need to convert. Why did you God do? So you can't be the person who is asking this. I cannot answer. If you ask me, why is there 3,000 gods or whatever idols? I'm going to ask you, yeah? Why did God protect you Muslims only from COVID? No Muslims died from COVID. Let's bring everybody to them. I'll convert that now, because there's nobody died from COVID. Very happy. You know, I would like to live first. I'll convert. Why did you do that? Just ask. That's all. Let them give, because they want to be the person who is asking questions all the time. You cannot ask. Give me that.
I will not be add to your point. This is also our immorality that we have not studied other people. Had we have studied other people, we have been better to fight it. So my super taking other person just to forget because he didn't get it. No.
My suggestion would be study Bhagavad Gita better.
So why did you do something?
Yeah, that should be that.
Yeah, you do that. You do that if needed. But
But I think my students are not living in something. I'm encouraged.
yeah,
Misinformation will travel much faster than the right time. Because misinformation will travel faster.
but I would highly recommend instead of spending time studying Quran,
No, I'm saying that. I'm saying that Then the same way he is fine. I already got.
Correct.
I lost my time. Why do I don't want to do that? You know, my when a guy like PhD, he has to defend his own, so he will come prepared.
The other thing is, in fact, I'm really Rajiv. Spending his lecture in that day that I'm going. He's one of the, he wants all Hindus. That's him. Yeah. Because if I'm asking, it's like it's not, we're not fighting a war. But intellectually, and then we part of it. That's what we need actually that has to be.
So, Hare Krishna, everyone, those who are online and on site. So, did you all enjoy the class? Yeah. I think there's a lot of questions at the end, and a lot of thought, So, this is actually the purpose of these classes. Now, Prabhuji, he is traveling all over the world and helping families and children everywhere. So, as Prabhuji said, that he can give 1 class, 2 class, 3 class. He can't keep giving the class all the time. So he doesn't have time, and he doesn't have time either. So he has kindly written all these books. So I highly recommend, take whichever book you are interested in. But do take this book. These books, as he said, they stay for generations. So you can later on you can refer it after this class. So these are not marketing kind of money making business. It is actually for our health. In fact, I would say we are very lucky that COVID happened because then Prabhuji was not traveling, and he has written 40 books during that 2 years' time. When he didn't go anywhere, he got those books. So those books are available now. These are the books which are published. There are any other books that have been published later on. So please take these books. The list of books I'll share it on WhatsApp group. So whichever book that you need, you can come along and take it from the temple. But again, the concluding comments: this temple itself is there to help us. Probably said in this class that unless the parents live by the values, we can't instill the same value in the children. They'll be confused. Rather than they are confused outside, actually you are confusing them. So if you want to make the children very strong, then you have to be very strong. There is a simple formula in the medical field. When you get virus, when your immune system is weak. When you are weak, the virus will attack you. If you are strong, no virus can attack you. Even if they come, it can't harm you. So unless we are strong in Bhagavad Gita, unless we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, people don't even know difference between Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. There was one gathering of Hindu people, and somebody asked, "Okay, you're all Hindu? Where say I'm Hindu? I'm Hindu." Okay, how many chapters are in Bhagavad Gita? Nobody knew. What is the first word of Bhagavad Gita? What is the first word of Shloka of Bhagavad Gita? Nobody knew. But we are still Hindus. So this is shame. So if you want to really help our children, first help yourself. If we are stronger, the children will become stronger. These books will help us to become strong. So I thank you all very much for giving your precious time.
You want to just the Zoom people, if they want to participate.
Yeah, I think they already said in Seema said it was very fast. Everybody thanks you for us. Yeah. There were more online people than on-site people.
That's because of the Monday 6 o'clock.
So now we go move towards the prasadam. We have a very special menu, pav bhaji. So this is just to make this online people suffer. That this is your punishment that you're going to enjoy the pav bhaji here, but you can't enjoy that. Next time you have to come here and you'll have a better menu.
You can keep the video on also while everybody's eating.
We'll put the video on and we'll show you how much pav bhaji we are actually. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Shubha Vilas Prabhu ki jai. Jai Go Premanand. Prashadam will be served upstairs. You can make your way. Yeah, Prashadam. Mahaprasade Govinde. Namo Brahmani Vaishnave. Salpa Punya Vitam Rajan. Vishwaso Prajayate. Sarirar Vidyaja. Indriya Kahe Ka. Jive Tele Vishaya Sagare. Kar Madhya Jivati. Logo Maya Sudurmati. Takajena Katina Sansare. Krishna Bada Gaya Mane. Dori Bal Jiva Jai. Sab Shalan Diyo Bai. Shayan Nam Rikha Pao. Radha Krishna Guna Gao. Premera Shri Chaitanya Nitai. Jai Mai Jai Mai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar. Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vidita. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Ram, Hare Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Baba Mukundan Mahaprasadam ki
Jai,
Gaur Mate.
Jai.
So there will be some QR code I'll be putting on this laptop here. So if you want that Prabhu to contact directly, you can scan the QR code, then you can take it directly.